If you've been a long-time listener of the local Sunday Sports Podcast, you know that this is normally the point where I talk about what the episode's about. Today, I'm doing something different, and this is the only thing I need to play.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Why, yes, we are going to talk more about Dayton Sports Radio. No, just kidding. It's baseball time. Happy opening day, Cincinnati and Dayton. By the way, that song is in public domain off Edison Recordings. It's Take Me Out to the Ball Game in 1908, sung by Edward Meeker. 1908. This song is like stapled into American history. It's crazy to think. Anyway, you're listening to the Cincinnati and Dayton Sports Podcast, CindayPod.com, and on social media, CindayPod, CINDAYPOD, or the Lee W. Mowen. You'll find both of us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also TikTok. Well, not CindayPod for TikTok, but you get what I'm saying. It's opening day. That means we're getting out of this winter weather, and hopefully we'll have warmer weather upcoming. Right now it looks good, but yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath. I'll experience warm weather when it actually happens. So I don't need to tell you how important opening day is in Cincinnati. In fact, the Cincinnati Reds have only opened on the road 3 times in their history. The last time they went on to win the World Series. If they do that, I will be a very happy Cincinnati fan. I don't expect it, but hey, you know. And Dayton Dragons will open up Friday the 8th. That's tomorrow on this day of recording. But if you're hearing this on WWSU, then it's already happened. And the first series is in the books for both the Reds and the Dragons. We're going to talk about both. We're going to touch up on some high school and college baseball as well. It is the most wonderful time of the year. By that, I mean, you know, it's baseball, warm weather, and I got my Cincinnati Reds jersey on. So, hey. It's baseball time. And we're going to start with the Dayton Dragons. They recently announced their 2022 roster. You can find it at DaytonDragons.com. And right now, no roster numbers. I'm sure they'll have roster numbers for their opening night game. Be kind of difficult if they didn't, but there you go. You can catch all 3 games on Dayton CW, which is either on channel 13 or 26 on Time Warner Cable, and on regular TV, it's 26. Actually, I don't know what it is on digital TV anymore. I probably should find this stuff out before I mention it, but you can watch it on TV, and all the Dragons games will be on 980 WONE AM, and yeah, you can also buy an MILB.TV package and watch all the games that way too. I highly recommend it because this Dayton team looks stacked. I mean, incredibly stacked. We're going to visit my good friend's website, RedsMinorLeagues.com. Doug Gray runs that site, does a great job. But we're going to say who made the team first. This is as of April the 4th, 2022. And like I said, no numbers yet, but, you know, they'll have them soon. So pitching-wise, you got left-hander Andrew Abbott. You have left-hander Evan Kravitz. And then the rest are right-handers. Franger Arangwin. Actually, should check the pronunciation guide. His is not on there. Cool. Well, we'll find out if I said that right soon. Donovan Benoit, Joe Boyle, who, by the way, is one to watch out for. Apparently, his fastball is consistently around 100 miles per hour. That's what we call baking and throwing heat. Manuel Cachut, Thomas Farr, Miles Gaiman, Jake Gilbert, Jake Gozo, Nick Hansen, Evan Kravitz, the left-hander, like I mentioned, James Marinan, Connor Phillips, James Proctor, Carson Rudd, Jake Stevenson, and Spencer Stockton. Although Spencer Stockton, if he ever gets to bat, which don't count on it, pitchers don't bat in the minor leagues unless the manager messes up He's a switch-hander. Everyone else will bat right, and Kravitz and Abbott will bat left. But again, don't count on it. Your two catchers will be Matt Nelson and Garrett Wolforth. Your infielders, one name that is highly talked about, Ellie De La Cruz. He will start in High A Dayton with Juan Martinez, Alex McGarry, Nick Quintana, Jose Torres, and Jonathan Willems. You have a left-handed bat in Alex McGarry. You have right-handed bats in Martinez, Quintana, Torres, and Willems. And De La Cruz as a switch hitter. And outfielders, you have 4 right-handed batters and 1 left-handed. The one left-handed batter is Jack Rogers. And your other outfielders, Alan Serta, Quinn Cotton, Ashton Creel, and Reese Hines. Yes, Reese Hines did make the move from third base to the outfield because that's what the Reds wanted. Your manager will be Brian LaHare. He takes over for Jose Marino, who I thought did an excellent job last year. But former MLBer Brian LaHare is your manager. Brian Garman, the Wapakoneta, Ohio native, back as pitching coach. Juan Samuels, your bench coach. Darrell Ward, your hitting coach. Wade Hebrink, your athletic trainer. Daniel Donahue, the strength and conditioning coordinator. And Zach Schickel, the clubhouse manager. That's your staff and your players for the Dayton Dragons. Again, no numbers as of this recording, but trust me, they'll be up soon. So the article, which I believe is written by Tom Nichols, he handles a lot of the press releases. This Dragons roster is loaded with talent and headlined by star prospect Ellie De La Cruz, an infielder who enters spring training as the Reds' number 3 prospect based on MLB.com. With the top prospect on the list, Hunter Green, set to begin the season with the Reds, and the number 2 player on the list, Nick Lodolo, in contention to be with the Cincinnati Reds when the Reds throw out the opening pitch tonight. De La Cruz could jump from 3 to number 1. How exciting would that be tomorrow? That Ellie De La Cruz will be the top prospect in the Red system starting in Dayton, Ohio. The last player ranked as the top prospect for the Reds while playing for the Dragons, Homer Bailey, back in 2005. The Dragons roster includes 6 of the top 17 players in MLB.com's ranking of top Reds prospects, 8 of the top 30. This roster also includes 14 players who spent some or all of the 2021 season with the Dragons, led by Quinn Cotton, the Dayton leader in home runs last year. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the ones that are returning back to Dayton after spending a little or a lot of time in the Gem City. So who else is on this team? I mentioned all the names. Reese Hines joins De La Cruz as a top 10 prospect. Right now, Hines listed as number 9. And also the best power hitter according to Baseball America, entering 2022 for the Reds. Matt Nelson, ranked as the number 12 prospect. He led the entire nation in home runs at the college level at Florida State in 2021. Andrew Abbott, the starting pitcher, ranked number 13 in the Red system. Second-team All-American last year in 2021 at the University of Virginia, and also led the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, in strikeouts. Connor Phillips, that might be a name you haven't heard. Well, he was part of that Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez to Seattle deal, ranked as the 14th best prospect. So it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the Reds farm system. Jose Torres, ranked number 17th, considered to be the best defensive shortstop in the 2021 draft after leading NC State to the College World Series. Not bad. Can't wait to see his defense. Alan Serta played a little bit last year in Dayton. He's a power-hitting outfielder, Alan Serta, ranked as the 22nd best prospect, was promoted to Cincinnati's 40-man roster over the winter, and also participated in big league spring training, meaning we're probably not going to see Serta a lot in Dayton, but stranger things have happened. Also, this Dragons roster has a whopping 11 players selected in the first 5 rounds. So yeah, Dayton's stacked. Hines came out of the second round, Nelson in the supplemental first round, Abbott in the second round, supplemental second round for Phillips, Torres in the third, Boyle in the fifth. Also, the other pitchers, Thomas Farr in the 5th round, Hansen in the 3rd, Kravitz the 5th, Marin in the 4th, and infielder Nick Quintana, 2nd round. So your returning Dragons, I've already mentioned Quinn Cotton. Jack Rogers spent the last 3 weeks with Dayton last year. Alan Serta about the same time. Matt Nelson came out a little bit earlier than those three gentlemen. Garrett Wolford about the same time. Also, it's spring when the lawnmowers are set to do their thing at the apartment complex we live in. Great. Jake Gilbert, Evan Kravitz, James Marinan, Thomas Farr, James Proctor, Spencer Stockton are all back in Dayton. Stockton's been around for a little bit. I think he's the longest tenured Dragon, maybe James Marinan. Marinan's battled injuries here and there. He will most likely still be in the starting rotation. Spencer Stockton, he was in the starting rotation, moved to the bullpen a bulk of the season. Then I think once all the starters moved up to Chattanooga, he came back in the starting rotation. So there you go. Like I mentioned, on radio, 980 AM, also 104.7-2, or -2 even, on HD radio. That's how I'm listening. And also 25 games on Dayton CW, including all Saturday and Sunday home games. It's a very exciting time, and I want to see what Reds Minor Leagues talks about. And the article is about Ellie De La Cruz headlining the Dragons roster. I mean, yeah, this team is stacked. I can't wait for them to do big things in the Midwest League. Yes, I said Midwest League. That name is back. Apparently last year, with MILB being absorbed into MLB, they didn't get the copyright for Midwest League and all the other leagues. There is one that's changing. I think that's the Pacific Coast League. I think. Was it the South Atlantic League? I don't remember. It's one of those two. Midwest League is technically back. Without Clinton, without Burlington, without Kane County, and without Bowling Green. Bowling Green moved back down south because, they're in the south. So this is Doug Gray's article. He wrote this on the 4th, about the same time the roster came out. And he talks about the pitchers as well. Last year, the starters were Andrew Abbott, Joe Boyle, Thomas Farr, Evan Kravitz, James Marinan, Connor Phillips, and James Proctor. Proctor got, I think, 2 starts in Dayton because he came out really, really late. So we've seen Kravitz, although I believe he was part of the bullpen for the Dragons last year. Thomas Farr, I think he got 1-2 starts, then he got hurt. James Marinan, I mentioned, he started in Dayton past few years, battled through some injuries. Catchers mentioned Matt Nelson, Garrett Wolford, although neither guy played 10 games with the Dragons last year. I thought they were in town for like 2 or 3 weeks. I could be remembering wrong. Hell, I don't remember what I did yesterday. So, yeah, both catchers do have a little bit of experience in Dayton, but they'll start with the Dragons this year. Infielders, like I mentioned, Ellie De La Cruz, one of the hottest names in minor league baseball, going from an unknown prospect to top 100. That's a very huge jump considering how stacked minor league baseball is. So think about that. Also, the Reds do like Torres and De La Cruz as shortstop, so trying to find both playing times, yeah, that's going to be a little tough. I mean, you'll probably see one play second, one play short, maybe one goes to third. They're going to get playing time. You can guarantee that. I don't like guaranteeing things I don't know about, but both of them not in the starting lineup on Friday, I'll be wicked surprised. And the outfielders as well. Reese Hines will be making his debut in the outfield with Dayton on Friday. Quite possibly, I should say. He made the transition from third base to the outfield this spring, and things went well enough that the organization decided stick with him. He'll be an outfielder. One big red flag is Hines has struggled to remain healthy, but last year, when he's on the field, he crushed the ball, slugging .542 with 29 extra base hits and 54 games played. If he can stay healthy, that'll be quite interesting to see what he does in Dayton. Because Dayton, pretty hitters-friendly park. So, that's your Dayton Dragons look. Like I mentioned, TV on the weekends and some Fridays, and radio all the time. Dayton's going to start off with a 3-game series at home against Fort Wayne, and then 5 at Lake County. All Mondays, with the exception of July 4th, are off. as Dayton will host West Michigan for the 4th of July. So Fort Wayne with 3 games at home. West Michigan at home at Dare Ballpark. Man, it's nice to see that Midwest League logo back up. Beautiful. Just beautiful. We are sticking with 6-game sets again, which is fine. I don't quite mind it. It's tough, but hey, you do save gas. There are, I think, 3 game series, and they're both with Fort Wayne. Dayton's got 4 off days for the 18th to 21st of July, which is weird to see, but there you go. So you will see your normal foes in Fort Wayne, Great Lakes. By the way, Fort Wayne with San Diego, Great Lakes with the Dodgers, Lake County with Cleveland, Lansing with Oakland, and West Michigan with Detroit. In the West, you have Beloit, now called the Sky Carp. In case you're wondering what Sky Carp is, it's apparently Canadian geese, and apparently it's big in Beloit. So much so that they got rid of the name Snappers for it, and they have ditched their green and gold and navy colors for that cerulean blue that Miami has, which is cool and all, but just it's for another episode. Let's not talk about that. Beloit with Miami, Cedar Rapids with Minnesota, Peoria with St. Louis, South Bend with the Cubs, Wisconsin with Milwaukee. Just weird to say. You know, Wisconsin is such a big state. Milwaukee's just the city. Never mind. Quad Cities with Kansas City, I believe. Yeah, Kansas City or Houston, one of the two. And I feel like I skipped one. No, I guess I didn't. So that's your Midwest League. Dayton will visit Cedar Rapids and host Cedar Rapids. Will also host Quad Cities and go to Quad Cities. I believe the Dragons visit South Bend and host South Bend. Okay. I think it's just hosting South Bend, actually, now they say that. Because, you know, you have 6-game series, you know, there's less travel, so we don't see as much of the Western Division as we used to. Meaning, I don't see Wisconsin on there. I don't see Beloit. Double checking to make sure that I'm not just making stuff off. Peoria is in town to kick off August. So yeah, that's your schedule. You can look at DaytonDragons.com and 66 home games. How exciting. There is another piece of news. Yours truly will be a public address announcer for the Dragons for a few games. I got the PA3 role, so that's pretty cool. Really excited. My first game announcing for the Dragons won't be until the 20th of this month, April. But hey, I'm moving up. Even if it's just 10 games this year, I'm moving up. And I cannot wait to finally get to announce for the Dragons. This is my 11th year with the franchise. I'm still doing scoreboard primarily, but hey, I'll get to see a lot of Dragons games. And I really think Dayton can get into the playoffs. Big thing is I need to check to see what the playoff system is going to be like this year. Let's see if the Midwest League pulls anything up. Because last MidwestLeague.com, and I put a space in it. What is wrong with me? So last year, it was the 2 best records. And yeah, it didn't matter if you were both in the West, both in the East, 2 best records, you would play for the championship, and that was it, the High A Central Championship. Dayton was eliminated on the second to last day. That's how close it was. But I ended up tying for first with Lake County by record. So that's pretty cool. This is from March 30th, 2022 by Stephanie Sheehan, talking about the return of the Midwest League name. Like I mentioned, all the names except one are back. This is the Midwest League, established in 1947. Went by High A Central last year, but back to Midwest League. East has Dayton, Fort Wayne, Great Lakes, Lake County, up in East Lake, Ohio, Lansing, and West Michigan in Comstock Park, which is Grand Rapids. Beloit, Wisconsin, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Peoria, Illinois. Quad Cities is in Davenport, Iowa, which is right across the river. And early on in the season, when it rains a bunch, yes, there's a lot of rainouts and the stadium can flood. There you go. That's what happens when you build a stadium right on the river. South Bend, Indiana, and Appleton, Wisconsin. That's your West Division. Last year, Quad Cities won it, I think, 4 out of 6. Best 2 out of 3, I think. Your most championships, Lansing and Wisconsin, both with 9. But remember, Lansing, most of those championships came when they were affiliated with Toronto, which now that's Vancouver taking that spot. Lansing's now with Oakland, and last year they kind of struggled. So there you go. So yeah, 1947. There's a lot of great history here. Peoria Chiefs, one of the oldest teams in the Midwest League, and there's a tweet from Minor League Baseball talking about how the affiliates changed a lot for Peoria. Mainly it's Cubs and the Cardinals. But the name stuck around, and in case you're wondering, no, it's not Native American logo. It is a fire department Dalmatian, and it is wicked awesome. Also, if like me, you have 2 young kids, well, actually, they haven't watched it for some time. I made the joke about 5 years ago saying that the Chiefs logo now only reminds me of Paw Patrol. Thank you, stepkids. Thank you for making me watch that. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, Midwest League is back, 12 teams, and this is not telling me about playoffs. Maybe we'll talk about that later, but Dayton Dragons roster, stacked. There is no reason why Dayton can't run the Eastern Conference. There's no reason why Dayton can't get in the playoffs. I'm expecting big things from this team, and yes, I know, minor league baseball is so fluent, you'll have call-ups, call-downs. Players will struggle. They'll be sent down to single-A Daytona. Players will hit out of their minds and advance to double-A Chattanooga. Like I said, I think, who was it? Cotton or Serta? One of the two I said, I don't think they'll be in Dayton too long. So make sure you come out when you can. Very excited. And again, season starting Friday the 8th of April. And now Dare Ballpark in the heart of the Water Street District. When I started at the Dragons, there was no Water Street. And in fact, where all those apartments are now, that was where employees parked. And some fans. Now it's where people live. And I looked at the prices on those. They are wicked expensive. Wicked. And that covers the Dayton Dragons. We now talk about the big league team, the Cincinnati Reds. I made no qualms about how I felt about the trades that the Reds were making, but I'm a fan of the Reds. I'm a Cincinnatian at heart, so I might be disappointed with those moves, but the Reds are still my team. And let's talk about those Reds. They're opening tonight, the 7th of April. Again, remember, if you're listening to radio, this has already happened. So if you're listening to this on the future for some reason, give me the lottery numbers. I need money. So the Reds will open up in Atlanta. Atlanta is the defending World Series champs. And in fact, tonight, the 7th, the Braves are wearing special jerseys. They got their white jerseys on, but the outline is going to be gold because they're the champions. So definitely cool about that. Definitely cool to see the Braves win it last year, or in my case, listen to the Braves winning it last year. For just the 3rd time since 1890, think about that, 3rd time since 1890, the Reds will begin a season on the road. This year's opening day matchup brings them to Truist Park, where they will find an energized crowd cheering for the defending World Series champion Braves. This is written by Mark Bowman and Jesse Borick for MLB.com. As Joey Votto enters his 16th season with the Reds, the Braves have replaced Freddie Freeman with Matt Olson at first base. Also gave him, an 9-year deal? Ooh. Olson is a suburban Atlanta native who's looking forward to joining a lineup that also has Austin Riley and Ozzie Albies. Here is a look at the opening day matchup. So for those that want to catch it, and you're not listening to it on radio, it's too late, it's going to be at 8:05 first pitch. It'll be available on MLB TV, also nationally on television at ESPN2. Reds fans can listen to WLW or any of the affiliates on the Reds radio network. Braves fans can listen on 680 The Fan, 93.7 FM, or any of the affiliates of the Braves radio network. So the lineups for Cincinnati: Jonathan India, last year's Rookie of the Year; took off in 2021 when he was shifted to the leadoff spot on my birthday, June 5th. He's set to hold down that role again this year with a new look middle of the order behind him. No Nick Castellanos, but one-year deal offered to Tommy Pham, and I was okay with this. Tommy Pham, not a bad hitter, and he's done his fair share of damage to the Reds when he was with St. Louis and the Cardinals. Votto dialed back the clock to his MVP candidate days for much of last season and figures the cleanup spot will be his. Nick Senzel had his third big league season torpedoed by injuries, and that's one thing that I hate. Nick Senzel has just been hurt so much. This is not me mocking him. This is just me saying, imagine what his career would be like if those injuries don't happen to him. I still expect big things. I know Nick Senzel can deliver big things. I hope this dude has a breakout 2022 and he's healthy for the whole season. That's what I want. Go get him, Senzel. You got a fan here in Dayton. The center field gig is his, so as long as he can remain healthy. And manager David Bell was enthusiastic during spring training about the depth he believes this unit has, particularly with the speed of Senzel and Jake Fraley at the bottom of the lineup. Remember, this is the year that the National League decides, okay, everyone's going DH, we'll go DH. You can thank Rob Manfred for that, if you like it or dislike it. Me, personally, I don't care. I dislike it because, that's what made the NL special. But at the same time, everyone's doing the DH, so why not? So the estimated starting lineup looks like this. India at second base, leading off. Naquin, the DH, batting second. Naquin had a heck of a start last year, just really cooled off, though. Tommy Pham in left, batting third. Joey Votto, the first baseman, batting in cleanup spot. Tyler Stevenson, catcher number one, batting fifth. Moustakas back at third. Kyle Farmer, your shortstop. Nick Senzel in center. Jake Fraley in right. And your opening day starter is Tyler Mahle. And I like Tyler Mahle a lot. I got to see him pitch in Dayton. He's one of the Dragons starters that actually stayed a starter when he got up to the major leagues. Last year, champion of the road. Home, but this dude can deliver. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him leading the starting rotation. No more Sonny Gray, no more Wade Miley, no more Trevor Bauer. Thank goodness with all the legal headaches. Oh, man, and people still defend him. Like, just because there's not enough evidence does not mean you're not guilty. But we're not going down that road because I'll be here all day and everyone's going to scream at me like, gaming in. Just like that. In case you're wondering what the Braves lineup looks like, Eddie Rosario, the right fielder, leading off. Ozzie Albies, the second baseman. Matt Olson, the first baseman. Clean up as third baseman, Austin Riley. Marcelo Ozuna, the left fielder. Adam Duvall in center. I didn't think he re-signed with the Braves. I don't know. Alex Dickerson, the DH. Dansby Swanson, the shortstop. Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher. Max Fried, the left-handed starter. So that's your look at what the Braves lineup could look like. Again, Braves lineup and the Reds lineup are not secure, but that's just the guess on this article. So for Mahle, he ascended to the role of the team's opening day starter after posting a 13-6 record, a 3.75 ERA in his first full big league campaign last year. I thought he was there for 2022, but I guess I'm wrong. His 210 strikeouts ranked 9th in the NL. While he has pitched like a top-of-the-line starter for stretches, he ascended to Game 1 duties when Luis Castillo was pushed back due to a sore right shoulder, and Sonny Gray dealt to Minnesota. Mahle compiled 14 strikeouts over 10 and 2/3 innings during spring ball. He finished his last start Saturday, stretched out and ready to roll for a normal workload. The right-hander made one start versus the Braves last season, a 4-0 defeat, when he struck out 7 over 6 innings at Great America Ballpark on June 27th. A little bit about Fried. This is his second opening day start and his first appearance since tossing 6 scoreless innings in the deciding 6th game of the World Series that brought the Cup back home to Atlanta. He's got the best MLB ERA at 1.74 last year after last year's All-Star break, and he finished 5th in balloting for the Cy Young Award in 2020. The left-hander has become one of the game's top starters since adding a slider to his arsenal in 2019. Fried's a really tough pitcher, so it's going to be a tough battle for Cincinnati, but I do like the offense. More on that in a minute. He allowed 2 runs over 5 innings when he made his opening day start in Philadelphia last year. He'll be facing the Reds in Atlanta for the first time since the Game 1 2020 NL Wildcard Series. 7 scoreless innings, and I think he gave up 1 hit in that. And there's a little bit more on that with the bullpen and everything. So, yeah, the Reds roster, we talk about the deals, and yeah, there's a few changes here or there. Still sad about Shogo Akiyama getting cut. I thought he could have had a great career, but just never got the bat around. So hopefully he, winds up somewhere where, he can begin his career again. So this is a new article. This is by Mark Sheldon. He does a lot of Reds stuff, and this is also on the Reds website, MLB.com. He mentions new faces will be plentiful for the Reds as they travel to Atlanta to begin the 2022 season Thursday night. So the final Reds opening day prediction, your catchers will be Tyler Stevenson and Aramis Garcia. I believe he's the one that was picked up off waivers from the Oakland Athletics. He had himself quite the spring training. He enjoyed a 2-homer game with 5 RBIs versus Oakland on March 19th against his old team. Previously played for the Giants while manager David Bell was running player development there. So there's a little bit of familiarity with Garcia and the manager. And Stevenson most likely will be batting in the middle of the order. Strong rookie campaign last year behind Tucker Barnhart, who's now in Detroit. That send-off is kind of heartbreaking. I mean, yeah, Stevenson needs time to shine, and it could be now. Just Barnhart was solid. So, Votto at first base. I think that's the biggest duh statement you'll hear on this podcast. Second base, Jonathan India. Again, duh. Kyle Farmer, your shortstop. Third base, Mike Moustakas, with Eugenio Suarez being dealt to Seattle. And I forget if he's on year 3 or 4 of his 4-year, $64 million contract. He reads to rebound badly. This is the guy I want to see rebound as best as he can, because when Moustakas is healthy and just swatting the ball around, he can be dangerous. But I worry that age has caught up to him and he's getting old. Outfield is interesting. Like I mentioned, Akiyama being told bye. You got Nick Senzel, Tommy Pham, Tyler Naquin, Jake Fraley, and Aristides Aquino. That's how it's pronounced in Dayton. Aristides, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah, no Castellanos, no Jesse Winker. Those are 2 big names that just are not on this list and no longer in Cincinnati. Like I said, mad about those trades, but still a Reds fan, so there we go. Tommy Pham, I'm excited to see what he can bring. Jake Fraley should be interesting to see. He's the best defensive option left field, says the article. Could be a right-handed power bat, Tommy Pham, and either corner. I hope to see Aquino rebound back and become the Punisher like he can be. And Senzel, like I said, I want him to stay healthy. And I want him to have a great season. And also, no, this is not the boat you get on if you just want to bash Senzel, because I will not tolerate that slander. So your utility, or DHs, or bench players, remember DH is now a thing in the NL for good. Colin Moran, former Pittsburgh Pirate, and Brandon Drury. Well, this name would include Max Schrock, who has turned out to be a beast everywhere he can play, and Davin Solano, who was added February, I think, off waivers. Max Schrock's injury hurts. Solano, fine. I think Schrock will come back hopefully soon. So Drury, I believe I saw Brandon Drury play with the South Bend Silverhawks a long time ago. So that'll be interesting at bat. Colin Moran, there's a lot of people that are just like, but he's a solid hitter when he's got it going on. So I don't mind that. He was also a Reds killer. So you can't kill the Reds when you're on the Reds. Your starting rotation, right now there's 4. When Luis Castillo comes back, that's, easy slide in. Mike Minor. Now that's going to be an interesting talk. Who gets bumped down when Minor returns? Castillo, I think he'll be back mid-April, I think. So right now it's Tyler Mahle for opening night, Vladimir Gutierrez, Hunter Green. Yes, Hunter Green in the starting rotation. He's going to make his Reds debut Sunday, April the 10th. That's Sunday. Okay. On Sunday, April the 10th. He's going to bring his triple-digit heat to the big league mound for the first time ever, and I can't wait. Nick Lodolo, who is the number 2 prospect for Cincinnati, he will travel with the Reds to begin the season, but the Reds don't need a 5th starter until April 13th because off day. There's also River? I don't know how to say that name, actually. Sam Martin. He made 2 superb big league starts at the end of the 2021 season. So, that's not bad. These names, if everything goes well, should be very interesting. And we do have to talk about the bullpen. Let's talk about the bullpen. Luis Cessa, Hunter Strickland, Art Warren, who I believe is a former Cincinnati Bearcat, Tony Santillan, Justin Wilson, Jeff Hoffman, Buck Farmer, a new addition to the Reds this year, Dalry Moretta, Ryan Hendricks, Daniel Duarte, Alexis Diaz. Ryan Hendricks being in the bullpen excites me because this dude was a rock star in Dayton. And Hendricks was nasty. I think he only got hit up like once or twice with Dayton, but that could just be me misremembering. So one name I didn't mention, Lucas Sims, former Atlanta Brave. He's got a back injury, so we'll see when he's needed. So closing duties can fall to Luis Cessa or Hunter Strickland. Also a new name for the Reds. And both will factor large in the late innings because short starts are expected in the early going. Multiple innings of relief will be key for the Reds with Jeff Hoffman, Tony Santillan, Duarte, and Diaz, who could help bridge the gap. No Amir Garrett on this list. I know Amir Garrett's last 2 years were crap. Let's not split hairs on it. But the dude was all about Cincinnati. And now he's with Kansas City. That helped bring Mike Minor to the Reds. So, yeah, the bullpen's going to be my big question. I think Justin Wilson... I'm trying to think if Justin Wilson came over from the Yankees. I think he did. He was okay. Tony Santillan, dude is good. Buck Farmer, I saw him with the West Michigan Whitecaps. I think my first, second, or third year with the Dragons. So, yeah, that's a name I recognize. Dalry Moretta, I saw with the Dragons. He was pretty good. He got better as he went along. Like, as the season rolled along, Moretta was pretty dominant. So, excited. Daniel Duarte, I don't remember him too much. Alexis Diaz, I remember. He started off rough, had to be sent down, tweaked his mechanics, came back, was perfectly fine. So, yeah, that's your bullpen. That's your Reds. And right now I expect, there's a lot of record predictions. It just really depends how the season rolls along. Duh. That's how sports works. For me, I don't think the Reds will be last place in the NL Central. Sorry, Pittsburgh. I don't know if you have enough to get out of last place. If the Reds are in the basement, then heads need to roll. Heads will need to roll because this is a lineup that can do some damage with the bats. You have starters with experience. The bullpen has experience. Now, the big thing is hopefully they're not burnt out by June and then they become, walking, run, giving up sieves. But it'll be interesting to see what's on tap for Cincinnati. Well, I mentioned third time since 1890 the Reds are on the road to begin the season. At Atlanta for 4, off day the 11th, and then the 12th and 13th, Cleveland's in town, first as the Cleveland Guardians. And I believe that's a 4:10 Tuesday start. Interesting. Which means I'll be able to listen to it on the radio and bug my stepgirls when I pick them up from school. No. The 4-game series at Atlanta, Thursday at 8:08 for opening day, 7:20 on Friday, 7:20 Saturday, and 1:35 Sunday. The Reds at home against Cleveland, 4:10 Tuesday, 12:35 Wednesday. And then right after that Cleveland game, it's time to hit the road as Cincinnati has their first of 2 Western trips, 4 at the Dodgers, 3 at San Diego. That's brutal. That's not even fair. That's just brutal. But hey, you got to deal what you get dealt with. Off on the 21st and then back home to take on those Redbirds from Missouri. The Missouri Redbirds, that's what they're called now. The St. Louis Cardinals in town. 6:40, first pitch on Friday, which I don't understand why that's not 7, but whatever. And the first fireworks Friday night. That will have Super Saturday, a Reds calendar on the 23rd as it's Cincinnati St. Louis round 2 at 4:10. And on the 24th of Sunday, 1:40 first pitch, Family Sundays, St. Louis, and then San Diego's in town the 26th, 27th, 28th. And then it's a road trip to Colorado to take on the Rockies. That's your April. And honestly, I think this Reds team could probably get to 500 on the year. 80-80. That's going to be my, that's going to be my guess. Because I think Milwaukee is still solid. St. Louis is solid, even though Albert Pujols is back, but he's not his. If he turns into his former Cardinal self, he's just going to destroy Reds pitching again, isn't he? But this is his last go around, so it's kind of special. The Cubs, nah. The Cubs, nah. Let's not talk about them. No, I don't think the Cubs will do that great. Honestly, I think it'll probably be St. Louis, Milwaukee, Reds, Cubs, Pirates. That's my guess. And, when we go over standings when is the last month of the year? When the Bengals start. What else? No, that's not correct. October the 5th is the last regular season day. Man, the season's winding in pretty long. Against, you guessed it, Chicago. Wait, rescheduled from April the 3rd. Wait a minute. What? What am I missing there? This should be just the 3-game series. Oh, duh. Lockout. How the hell did I forget about the lockout already? Ugh. Anyway, let's look at the coaches. Derek Johnson still the pitching coach. Hitting coach is Alan Zinter. Freddie Benavides, the bench coach. Yes, the first manager for the Dayton Dragons. David Bell, the manager. Joe McKeithen, the major league assistant hitting coach. Eric Yeagers, the assistant pitching coach. It might be Jaggers, I don't know. Delino DeShields, you might remember him being the Dragons manager. First base, infield, base running coach. Third base, J.R. House, also the catching coach. Game planning, outfield coach, Jeff Pickler. Bullpen coach, Lee Tunnell. Bullpen catcher, Jose Duarte. You might remember him with the Dragons, where pretty much he would hit triples or nothing. Literally, it was like that. And assistant coaches Kyle Arnsberg, Christian Perez, and Rolando Velez. And that's your coaching staff for the Reds. And honestly, like I said, I think the Reds can hit 80 wins. That's probably my borderline, hey, a few wins off the mark, I'll be happy with the season. Because I think losing, some of your hottest hitters in Castellanos, Winker, and losing your Sass in the bullpen, Garrett. Like I said, I think Garrett was going to rebound this year, but I don't know that. I can't see the future. So that is the look at the Reds and the Dragons. Should be a very interesting year for baseball in Cincinnati and Dayton, as now we head along to talk college ball. Yes, I know, I still haven't got the college basketball episode down, but hey, stuff happens, and it will get done eventually, I promise. But let's talk about the 6 D1 schools in the area, as we're running out of time for this hour-long affair. We'll start off with the Horizon League 2 teams in the Cincinnati area. Wright State on top, like everyone predicted, 7-2. A game over Oakland, a team that actually took the series at Nishwood Stadium. And Norfolk, Kentucky, 5th place at 3-5, ahead of UIC and Purdue Fort Wayne. So Wright State, they have swept their last two Horizon League opponents, Northern Kentucky on the road and Purdue Fort Wayne on the road. 7-2, 12-14 overall are the Raiders. They lost last night to Cincinnati, and they are fourth place in the Joe Nuxall Classic. And I'm very excited that that is back, as the Raiders 7-2 in Horizon League play. They dropped the series at home to Oakland, who's 6-3. Can the Golden Grizzlies be good this year? Interesting. Youngstown State 3-3, Milwaukee 2-2, NKU 3-5, UIC 1-2, and Purdue Fort Wayne 2-7. The Norse, let's look at their conference slate so far. Looks like a splitting at UIC, winning the first game, then dropping the second game in extras, getting swept by Wright State at home. And then we drop down Milwaukee, a 2 out of 3 series win for the Norse at Milwaukee, and then falling to the Dayton Flyers at home 16-3. They'll be at Youngstown State next, will the Norse, and for Wright State, let's go back. This site is not very friendly to use. I think Wright State is this the weekend they're home against UIC that starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or is it next week? I think it's next week, yeah, because the Raiders are off on conference play. They are at Bradley for 3, then at Xavier on the 12th, and then the 14th, 15th, and 16th. There's UIC for their last conference series in Dayton, Ohio. Yes, that makes me sad to see UIC go, but bye. For the Dayton Flyers in the Atlantic 10, they dropped 2 out of 3 against Rhode Island, and the Flyers sit 1-2 with St. Joseph's, George Mason, and Fordham. The Fordham one really surprised me, and Fordham 6-19. Davidson having a really good year, 22-5, and 3-0 with George Washington. And I see the Colonials get a little resurgence going. 2-1 for St. Louis, VCU, UMass, and Rhode Island, the team that took 2 out of 3 against Dayton, but 5-22 overall. Ugh. And 0-3 is Richmond and St. Bonaventure. Darn on Richmond. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Tracy Woodson because that guy was a big jerk to me when I hit the wrong button, shouting at me from the dugout. Class. Let's move to the MAC before I talk more about that and get angrier. Get some action. Okay, Miami is 7-8 in conference play. I had to do a double take because, wait, how do you guys already have about 15 games in conference play? Well, they do. Miami is currently sitting in 5th place in the baseball standings right now. The best winning percentage is Central Michigan at 9-1. Ball State is 12-2. That's the most conference wins. Eastern Michigan 6-6, Kent State 5-5, Miami 7-8, Akron 7-9 with Chris Sabo leading the way. Northern Illinois 6-8, Ohio 5-7, Toledo 6-9, Western Michigan 4-6, Bowling Green 4-10. It's nice to see Akron back up there. For Miami, already 15 conference games, and Wright State has only 9. And Dayton just played their first conference series. But then again, in the A-10, you don't play everyone. So there you go. A 4-game sweep at home against Bowling Green, and then swept, I'm guessing that's all at home against Central Michigan, so 4-4. At Toledo, dropping 2 of 3. That's the same Toledo team that beat that team in Columbus. Woohoo! A 2 out of 3 series win at Northern Illinois, winning the first 2, then dropping the second. Apparently that's a doubleheader. Oh, excuse me. Nope. No, I can't read. I can't read. Please help. No, it is a series split, as the Huskies and the Redhawks split 2 out of 4. And then falling at Xavier 17-2. Up next for the Redhawks, Eastern Michigan for 4 at home, and then Western Michigan on the road for 4. And then at Kent State for 4. So that's your big reason why there's so many conference games. They're playing a 4-game swing, which I don't mind that. Now the American, the Cincinnati Bearcats, currently 1-2 in conference play, tied with Wichita State and Eric Wedge. Tulane and UCF 3-0. Houston, East Carolina at 2-1. Wichita State, Cincinnati 1-2. South Florida, Memphis 0-3. Who did Cincinnati play? They're currently 11-16 on the year. Also beating that team in Columbus, which is always something to treasure. especially when you're tired of hearing about that team in Columbus on radio, but you can listen to the last episode on that. They dropped 2 of 3. Did the Bearcats at home against East Carolina, winning the first one 7-3, but dropping the next ones 8-4 and 12-10. Beating Wright State last night 7-4. Up next, Houston and the Cougars in town, and then it's a 3-game swing at Wichita State before coming home to take on Indiana. Then 3 against South Florida, and then 3 at East Carolina. And last up, the Big East. Xavier, how are those Muskies doing? Well, they haven't played a Big East series yet. No joke. Literally, there's been 2 teams that have played. Georgetown is 2-1, Villanova 1-2. I wonder who they played. Let's look. No, let's not. So right now, Xavier sitting 15-15. Right now, the most wins overall is UConn's 21. Georgetown not far behind at 19. Xavier and Creighton with 15 each. Butler with 14. St. John's 11. And then you have 9 for Villanova and a tie. Wildcats, really? I thought you were better than that. And Seton Hall 6-21. So that's your look. Who is the first conference foe for these Musketeers? Well, it'd be great if the website loaded, or I can actually hit the button. And I will tell you that is Seton Hall on the road. And in fact, I think Xavier was the winner of the Joe Nuxall Class. No, that was Tuesday. Wow, they played that game, but never mind. So I think Xavier finishes first. I think Cincinnati will finish third and Miami second, because Miami beat Wright State. So again, the series is at Seton Hall for 3 in South Orange, New Jersey, then hosting Wright State. 3 against Villanova in Cincinnati, and then 3 at Georgetown, site to be determined. Back home late April to take on Creighton, then at Butler, then at UConn, and then hosting St. John's to close out the regular season. That is your look at Division I college ball in the area. And last up for this episode, high school tournaments. There's 2 big ones. There's the Reds Futures High School Showcase, which this year will be the 11th year, which is tied in with the Reds, which is really cool. It's one of my favorite ones to work. Also, the Dayton Dragons will be in its 17th year, having high school teams play baseball at the High A Stadium. We're going to start with the Dayton Dragons because the first game is on April the 9th, and it's right after the Dragons game, and it's my hometown, West Alexandria Twin Valley South Panthers. That's a wordy sentence. Twin Valley South will take on their former cross-county conference foe in the Covington Buccaneers, now part of the Three Rivers Conference. That's 7 o'clock first pitch, Saturday the 9th. And like I said, right after the Dragons game, excited to see not only all the Preble County schools back here at Dare Ballpark, but a lot of the local schools as well. Valley View's in it, Eaton, National Trail, Tri-County North. I mentioned Twin Valley South, Preble Shawnee, New Lebanon, Dixie. Yeah, I mean, if you can come out to watch high school ball, I don't think it's free anymore, but the tickets are like $5. So really, come on, it's cheap. Come out and watch a game. So your baseball schedule, by the way, all this is presented to you by Bob Ross Auto Group. 23 high school baseball games, 46 area high schools playing in downtown Dayton. So, mentioned Covington Twin Valley South, Saturday the 9th. Wednesday the 13th, a doubleheader, Edgewood against Northwest and Northmont versus Wayne. Thursday the 14th, Beaver Creek Lebanon against Kenton Ridge and Tippecanoe. That's Beaver Creek versus Lebanon and Kenton Ridge versus Tippecanoe. Versailles takes on Wyoming, and Bethel has Fort Loramie on Friday, April 15th. By the way, the doubleheaders start at 4:30, second game scheduled for 7. Saturday, you got a block load of contests, 3 of them. At noon, it's Preble Shawnee Dixie. 3:30, Blanchester, Clinton Massey. And 7 is Indian Hill, Middletown. On the 23rd, after a Dragons game, it is Bishop Fenwick against Northwestern. Tuesday, April 26th, starting at 4:30, Carroll v. Alter, GCL co-ed battle, and Preble County battle, Eaton versus Tri-County North, to follow. Wednesday, April 27th, Mechanicsburg, West Liberty, Salem, and Spencerville, Lima, Perry to follow. Thursday, 28th, Sydney, Washington, I believe that's Washington Courthouse, and Valley View, Springboro. Yeah, it's the only sport where you see Valley View actively taking on Springboro. I don't get it, but hey, Valley View's playing, so that's pretty cool. Saturday, April 30th, 3 games. At 11, it's Hillsboro, Lincoln View. 3:30 is Springfield, Shawnee National Trail. And 7 is Wilmington versus McLean. Saturday, May the 1st, Reading against Ross. Sunday, May the 8th, Bradford, Spencerville. I think that's after a Dragons game. Tuesday the 10th, 1 game, Franklin Monroe versus, it says Arcanum, but it's Arcanum, the Battle of 49. And the last one scheduled, May 11th, Lima Bath versus Howson. I had to remember it's not Houston, but yeah, there you go. Here's the Reds Futures Showcase. Most of these games are in Cincinnati, but there are some at Xavier's Hayden Field, Miami's McKee Field at Hayden Park, UC Baseball Stadium at Cincinnati, and Nishwood Stadium at Wright State. I'll be at Wright State for 4 of those 6. Your schedule starts this Saturday at the Reds Youth Academy. Clinton Massey against Lebanon at 11. Clark Montessori, North College Hill at noon. No, they're not playing 45-minute games. There's multiple fields at the complex, so there you go. Clark Montessori, North College Hill at noon. McNicholas, Purcell, Marion at 1. Lakota West, Milford at 4. Deer Park, Wyoming at 3. Sunday the 10th, this is softball's opening day, because yes, softball is included. Hughes versus Western Hills at noon. This is at the Reds Youth Academy on Gabby Rodriguez Day. And Williamsburg takes on Wilmington. Monday the 11th, back to baseball at East Central High School in Indiana. Batesville, East Central, Lawrenceburg, South Dearborn. That's weird that East Central gets to host and play there, but there you go. At Wright State, my first of 4. Wednesday the 13th, Bellbrook Monroe at 5, Kettering Fairmont Springboro at 7:30. Thursday the 14th at Minkin Field in Covington. This is Covington, Kentucky. Bishop Brossart versus Holy Cross at 10:30 in the morning. On a school day? That's got to be spring break. And at 1, Covington Catholic, Newport Central Catholic. April 16th, a Saturday, back at Reds Youth Academy on Jackie Robinson Day. Gamble Montessori versus Schroeder at 11. Riverview East Euler at noon. Hughes Western Hills at 1. Mount Healthy Norwood at 2. Aiken Taft at 3. Walnut Hills Winton Woods at 4. That's an ECC battle there. Monday the 18th, back at Wright State University's Nishwood Stadium. Miamisburg Northmont at 5. And Beaver Creek and Centerville at 7:30. Since I've been announcing the Reds High School Futures Showcase, which I believe this is my 5th, 6th year doing it. I have to look. Yeah, Miamisburg, Centerville, Beaver Creek have all been in it every year, and I don't think the Vikings have won a game yet. Don't you think it's my fault, Miamisburg? I don't control anything. I think Centerville is undefeated there. Beaver Creek, I think, is. There you go. At St. Elizabeth Healthcare Field in Bellevue, it's Bellevue versus Marymount, Battle of Ohio, Kentucky, Tuesday the 19th at 5. Back at Wright State on April the 20th, Franklin Madison at 5. Bishop Fenwick, Chaminade Julian at 7:30. At Xavier on the 22nd of April, Loveland Turpin at 5. Saturday the 23rd at Xavier. Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy against Oxford Talawanda at noon, and Coleraine Anderson at 3. On April the 30th, there are 2 different sites this day at Softball Stadium at Miami U, Lakota East Milford at noon, Lebanon Mason at 2:30, and Harrison Oak Hills at 7 at Harrison. Monday, May the 2nd at UC LaSalle takes on St. X. Elder has Moeller, GCL South Night there. At Miami U on the 6th, Mason Sycamore at 5, Fairfield Hamilton 7:30. On May the 7th at 11 a.m., Edgewood's at Middletown, and at Joyce Park in Fairfield, Baden takes on Ross. At Beechwood High School on the 10th, Beechwood Cooper and Scott Walton Verona. On May the 11th at Midland Baseball Complex, Batavia Hillsboro and New Richmond Reading. Friday, May 13th at Big League Weekend at Great American Ballpark. Covington Catholic versus Dixie Heights, Elder versus Highlands. And Saturday, May 14th, again at Great American Ballpark. Your last 3, Kettering Alta, Roger Bacon at 11, Campbell County, Connor at 3, Fairfield Centerville at 5. And that wraps up the 11th Reds Futures High School Showcase. Again, the big difference is with this one, it's all over the place. With the Dragons, they are ballpark. So there you go. It's always cool to announce, and definitely looking forward to coming back to these tournaments and games and working these. Spring is back, baby. It's opening day. Happy baseball celebration 1-0, and hopefully we'll have the same attitude after a month of Reds and Dragons baseball. That'll do it for this episode here on the Cincinnati and Dayton Sports Podcast. I'm Lee W. Mowen, and yes, the college basketball wrap-up is coming out soon, I promise. Until then, go baseball. Thank you for listening to the Cincinnati and Dayton Sports Podcast with Lee W. Mowen. Be sure to bookmark CindayPod.com, spelled CINDAYPOD, the official website of the podcast. You can find your favorite ways of listening to the local Cinday Sports Podcast, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon Music, the iHeartRadio app, and many more. You can also purchase merchandise from TeePublic and Redbubble to help support the podcast. Follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CindayPod, and the host at the Lee W. Mowen. The closing theme is Cosmopolitan from Pecan Pie on Upbeat. This is Lee W. Mowen signing off another episode of the Cincinnati and Dayton Sports Podcast. Thank you for your continued listenership, and join me on the next episode.